Hey everybody, this is a video on theme 2, the industrial and agricultural change in the USSR. I'll be focusing only on Lenin in this video. So let's go. Lenin wanted an economic evolution to build socialism. His main goals were modernization, consolidation, military victory, and to destroy capitalism. Marx did not set out a detailed plan in his Communist manifesto. So, from March 1918, Lenin began the nationalization of industry, which was very important to him. For Lenin, there's really only three main economic ideas to remember: state capitalism, war communism, and the new economic policy. The first one was pretty good, the second one was bad, and the third was a bit of both. All were successful and all failed in their own ways. These can be considered Lenin's three children. The first is well-behaved, but not everything he wanted. The middle one is a psychopath looking for Lenin's approval by doing crazy shit like mass killing. And the third one is a confused mess that sorta is like the first one, but also gambles and bangs hookers. See, this joke will make sense later, but the summary is that Lenin is a really bad dad. State capitalism was the phase between capitalism and socialism. And it was always meant to be a temporary measure, sort of like a rebound ideology after a really bad breakup with capitalism, like really bad, and then getting into an abusive relationship with communism. Russia is really not good at choosing partners. What was I talking about? State capitalism. State capitalism nationalized large-scale industry. This meant that the big producers like steel and coal were under government control, but smaller businesses were still private. The Vysenka controlled nationalized industries. The start of the Civil War in the summer of 1918 led to some emergency measures being taken. The measures were taken to ensure communist victory in the war. These measures came to be known as war communism. And here is what happened. All industry is nationalized. Money was abolished and private trade was made illegal. 11-hour workdays were introduced and work was compulsory for all able-bodied men between 16 and 50. Which, if you think about it, is pretty sexist, Lenin. What the hell were you thinking? Anyway, food dictatorship occurred. Grain was forcibly taken and rationed by the supply commissariat. Workers and soldiers got the largest ration, while the members of the bourgeoisie were given the smallest ration. Obviously, without any incentive to work, there was an economic catastrophe. By 1920, famine spread across the countryside. The harvest of 1921 was less than half of what had been produced in 1913, leading to 6 million deaths. Workers also fled the city to find food. Between 1917 and 1921, the workforce reduced by more than 50%. And so comes the Deus Ex Machina, the one to save everyone from the shit show of war, communism. Except, this is a bit more of an accurate Greek Deus Ex Machina, so the god comes in, tries to fix everything, but also leaves a big old mess behind on the way out. Exit stage right. Of course, I mean the new economic policy, which ended war communism to create a mixed economy, a compromise with capitalism. Why did Lenin introduce the new economic policy? For a number of reasons. He wanted to retain political power, to revive the economy, and to build socialism. Money was reintroduced. Farming was left to the free market and grain requisitioning ended. Small factories and workshops were denationalized and free trade was now allowed. However, large factories and major industries remained nationalized. Now here I made a table of the pros and cons of the new economic policy. I will read it out for you, but you can pause it, take a screenshot of it to look at it later. The pros were that farmers loved it. Of course they loved it. You know, they were given money for the work they were doing, and their food wasn't just being taken by the supply commissariat anymore. And as a result, the famine ended, which is great. People like being fed. And there was industrial growth. Electrification campaign revived the industry. Political stability was there now because the party became more popular with peasants. Try saying that sentence 3 times. The party became popular with the peasants. However, there were cons still. The industrial recovery was slow and the scissors crisis occurred. And then there was inequality that grew through the rise of nepmen who the Cheka arrested. And large farms did better than smaller ones. And prostitution and drug dealing and gambling, there was a whole lot of bad that came alongside with the great stuff provided by the new economic policy. One of these cons that was a major problem was the divided Communist Party. The right-wing side supported it as a necessary stage for transitioning to communism. The left-wing side opposed the NEP as a gateway to capitalism. The center also supported the NEP, who argued that it was helping to rebuild the economy. Where does that leave us? Well, you'll get a number of different questions regarding this. You'll get questions like, how successful were Lenin's economic policies? And to answer a question like that, you'll have to go through all 3 of these economic policies that Lenin made and compare them with each other to show which one was more successful and which one was not, to give an overall idea whether Lenin did a good job to fix the economy and to make it more communistic.